continuing on with my little series about getting back to the basics of bass fishing, or my 5 techniques that I would suggest to learn and to basically, start out bass fishing. And these are tried and true techniques. We started off with a Texas rig worm, then we talked about a soft stick bait, then we talked about a spinner bait, and now we're going back to something that kind of started about, 20 something years ago. It's called a drop shot. Okay, for those of you who don't know, it's very, very effective for both smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, actually all kinds of different fish. I think I've almost caught every species of fish that live in freshwater on a drop shot rig, whether it's catfish, northern pike, walleye, perch, bluegill, sunfish, crappie. I mean, you name it, the possibilities are endless with the drop shot rig. So what I'm going to do is talk about how to rig it and some different baits and applications and kind of how you fish it. So first of all, the line, right? We talked about that as well, selecting your right line. I would suggest fluorocarbon 100% of the time. It's real sensitive. You could really detect the bites, and it's super strong, and it's going to help you get a lot more bites because it is extremely thin diameter, as well as it's pretty, invisible in the water. So you can see right here, I got Sunline 8-pound, and I mean, sometimes, you 10, 12, kind of. Overall, though, I'd start off with 8-pound if you just want a bunch of bites and you're not fishing around a lot of thick cover. So 8-pound fluorocarbon, is something I would start with. So then, all you're gonna do is you're gonna come down. You're gonna leave a tag line. Okay. So start with about 12 to 15 inches. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a hook. This here is a drop shot, a Eagle Claw Trokar Dropshot Hook. Tackle Warehouse has an unbelievable selection on all the different hooks, different price points, different styles, different sizes. This here is a 1/0 Trokar. It's actually a drop shot hook. And all you're going to do is we're going to do the Palomar knot, okay? But remember, if this end is going to your rod, okay, this is where you're going to attach your weight and your bait. So we're going to come up from the tag end of the line about 12 to 15 inches. Then we're simply going to fold it over. Fold over your line like that. We're going to place it through the eye of the hook, okay? Once you've done that, I've showed you before, I'm going to show you how to do it again. You're just going to simply fold it over. You're going to take the loop, run it back through just like an overhand knot, okay? You're going to take that tag end and you're going to place it around the hook. Now, once you have that kind of a deal going on, you're going to take the tag end, okay? Wet it a little bit. Simply pull tight, okay? So this is what you end up with. This is going to your rod. There you have your hook, and there you have your tag end. For the drop shot rig, do not cut that tag end off. All you're going to do, very, very simple. Again, Tackle Warehouse, they have a huge selection of drop shot weights. This here's an arc tungsten weight. They have lead weights, they have cylinder weights, they have all kinds of different shapes. I like that teardrop kind of shape. It just works well for me if they're all different types of cover. I would recommend, especially if you're starting out fishing from the shore or you're fishing from a dock or things like that, a 1/4 ounce would be the weight that I would suggest to start off with. And then you get way more advanced from there, but a 1/4 ounce seems to be the right way. All you're going to do is, usually they come with a little clip clasp like that. You're going to run your tag in line right through there, come up about, or down, I guess, down about 12, 15 inches, and simply pull tight. So this is what you end up with, okay? You got your line going to your rod up here, your hook, and then your weight. So obviously, whatever bait you put on, this weight is going to be bouncing on the bottom, okay? And your bait is going to be up here, meaning up off the bottom, more in front of the fish's face, around up above the muck and the little grasses and things on the bottom. As far as the baits, right, you can use a variety of baits. There really is no wrong bait. For beginners, I would suggest something basic, like a 4.5-inch straight tail worm. This here's a Roboworm. And all you're gonna do, very, very simple. You're gonna take your hook, put it right through the nose or the head of the worm, and that's it. That's all you have to do right there, okay? And then you're just gonna cast it out and fish it, just, you know, kind of pulling that bait, moving that bait just right along the bottom. And in the water, these baits are gonna stand out more, okay? And it's gonna act just like a worm or a creature bait. You could use a creature bait, much like this fighting frog. You could use a single-tail grub, this Yamamoto grub. There's a variety of soft plastic grubs on the market. A bigger 6-inch Roboworm, a curl-tail worm. But this is just an outstanding way to get a lot of bites. Catches, like I said, a variety of fish. And it's fairly simple to rig and really simple to fish. There's another way you can rig the drop shot that we'll get more involved with at a later video, called the Texas rigging the drop shot worm. So in other words, you don't have an open hook. So if you're fishing through grass or around grass, you can revisit the Texas rig worm video and apply the same type of rigging technique with a different hook and utilize the same drop shot rigged right here through grass and through cover. Like if you have tall grass or you're fishing around stumps or a lot of trees and things like that, and you don't want to exposed hook, that's how you're going to rig that. But I can get into that at a later date. But anyway, that is a tried and true way for the last 20, 25 years on how to catch a lot of fish. Like I mentioned, all varieties of fish, but especially bass. Now the color choices, I almost forgot to mention that. You can see right here, this is kind of a brown with a little blue line. I got a brown with Chartreuse back on it. I got the grub is kind of a shaddy, natural smoke color. The creature bait is kind of a blue gilly, green pumpkin, a little bit of flake in there. The clearer the water, the more earth tone baits, whether that's, you know, like I mentioned, the Texas rig, a soft stick bait, crankbait, it really doesn't matter. The rule of thumb, clearer the water, the more natural baits or colors you want to throw in your baits. The darker the water, the more colorful, meaning bright, Chartreuse. Your really blacks and blues, your dark green pumpkins, things like that, things that are going to make a presence in that dirtier water. So that's a general rule of thumb, but all in all, like I mentioned, this is one of my favorite go-to techniques. You know, for starting out, if I had a beginner in my boat on one of my guide trips, this is for sure going to be a rig that I have rigged up and ready for them, and I'm sure they're going to catch fish. So the next bait we're going to talk about is one of my favorites, one of my all-time favorites. Still fish with it day in, day out, so make sure and stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys next time.